of our homes. My father is a veteran of the Vietnam War. My uncle is a veteran of the Vietnam War. My husband is a veteran of Desert Storm. His father is a veteran of Korea. There was no other flag in any of our homes but the American flag. And that's my feeling.
But there is a flag
But the
now.
honor and remember flag didn't exist then,
Right.
and it wasn't approved by 19
I
states.
honor and remember my family and their service to this country with that flag.
But you can't honor any more than that.
You asked her
That's
opinion.
my
She
comment.
gave you your opinion.
That's my opinion.
Right?
Well, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay, and that's her opinion.
Anybody else? Did someone else give us their opinion?
I'll speak as well. As Bruce had said, that no one meant to get any one family hurt or divide a community. When this project started, it started to bring a community something that it can honor its residents, because that first memorial that was falling apart needed to be repaired, and we set forth to try to honor these people, everyone. It seems like you want to say something in between. So
I
go
do.
ahead.
I think we all understand that, and we all respect everything
Okay,
you've
then
done.
let me
But-
explain how I get to where my decision comes. There's a path that takes place. I was there 16 years ago. I was in the first meeting. And I thought that this is a community of people who really need a hand in whatever we can do, because they deserve it. So that whole process took place. Now the flag comes up. And the issue is not about one person, as you're right, Mr. Moore. And again, all of us do offer whatever condolence we can, but we can't feel your pain. We understand that. But the issue was about the flag itself. Okay, so now, if the flag is representing this group of veterans, and what are other people doing as well? Because we don't want to divide a community. So what do other people do? And that's where we start to look into it. And say, what does the code require? And a lot of people on this committee really looked into it in detail. And we said, okay, what do other places do? Okay? So does McGuire-Dix fly it? Does the state capitol fly it right now? Okay? The answer is no. Am I correct? Correct. Okay. Does the Veterans Cemetery, Doyle, fly it?
No, sir.
No. So at this point in time, we were looking at this decision. What do we do? Right? And we started giving our opinions. Now, my opinion was the same. My flag flies at my house every day, because in my opinion, that American flag represents every veteran from every interest that the United States has had. And that's been my flag. But that doesn't mean that I'm right or wrong, but that's my opinion. That's why I voted the way I did. Okay? I am truly upset to see how this community, which I think is a fantastic community, is divided over this. We can disagree on things, but we don't have to disagree where it becomes personal and things like that. And that's what greatly disappointed me in this. But I still stand behind the decision of this committee, that I believe the American flag is the flag. Okay? And that's why I voted the way I did.
So are you telling me you would have voted against the POW-MIA flag if we were talking about that in 1980?
No, because what happens right now is, at this present time, that this flag that we talk about, what is the flag that we want to represent at the memorial? Because this whole notion that we're not honoring people upsets me, and it angers me. Because we did honor people, and we continue to honor people. So don't tell me we don't do that. We don't do that. But it's about what flags do we put up there, and what do those flags represent? And so therefore, that's the decision we make. Now, you can disagree, and that's fine. But that's what this whole memorial is about. We had meetings in 16 years where people were screaming at each other. But that's what this committee is about. It represents the people who gave their lives so we can have this discussion, we can have this agreement, and we can move on with our lives. So because we have a disagreement, doesn't mean anybody's wrong. It means the process that this great country was based on continues. Now, that doesn't mean in the future it might change. But it's the process that we live with, and we have been. Go ahead.
For a man, I didn't know Ben personally, but really that doesn't matter. But for a man who did so much for your city, you guys don't want to be the first to fly that flag and make that statement?
Well, don't interpret that. So, hold on, let me answer that. Because there's also a little bit of understanding that you have to understand here. About Ben, as you mentioned. when this committee was asked whether or not we honored Ben by putting his name on the wall, there wasn't one person who said no, because given the fact of what he had done, and Bruce hit it right on the head, he contributed to this community, maybe more so than some folks who live here. And so for that reason, we all said, absolutely, we should honor this man, okay? But this flag is not about that. It's not about that. He's on the wall because he belongs to be on the wall.
The flag, I understand, that is about the families. You know, certainly an important, valuable, respectable mission. I guess if it was about a veteran or about Ben or something, maybe we'd look at it differently. I'm not sure how we could. But it's not. It's about the families. It's a civilian statement. And it's fine. That's great. You know, there probably is a need for that kind of a statement. But in a sense, it's inconsistent with the Veterans Memorial. It should be flown at a civilian site, I think. And it does fly. The city flies that flag at civilian locations. And I absolutely support that. That's where it should be. We have, one of the things that Brian touched on is I'll try to make this short. The American flag to me, and I think the committee and probably everybody in this room, is something really, really special. And I think it's something really, really special beyond the fact that it happens to be our flag. I think it's something really, really special to the entire world. And it's magical to me because of all the things it is. It honors servicemen. It honors people who give service to their country when they're not in uniform. It's placed on a casket of someone who's served their country and died. And one of the things that I put in my letter, or we put in our letter, I didn't put it in, is that we feel it's inappropriate, I guess is the word, I'm not sure how we said it, to dilute the power of the American flag. Now, you could say, well, that's ridiculous, that's not gonna happen. And maybe you'd be right, it's not gonna happen. But we received an email from someone who said, in part, the American flag will always be the flag to me, period. But the H&R flag is also no less important. Frankly, I got chills when I saw that. Have we gotten to the point where the H&R flag is no less important to us than the United States flag? Holy smokes. That's one person's opinion, and it may be shared by no one in the world, but it was one of the things this committee was concerned about. We have this little tiny memorial that we've put so much effort in, and Pat, you're right, we don't own it. We gave it to the city. I would be delighted if they would maintain it, but they don't, so we do. But I don't own it, this committee doesn't own it. But it is in our hearts. And we would like it to be everything that it was designed to be. And that is a Veterans Memorial, a very narrow mission by a humble little memorial. And I would resist any attempt to make it more than that, because if you try to make it more than that, you run the risk of it being less than that. And it can't be any less than that. If it's less than that, it's not. So I'm done.
I have a question.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies first.
Okay, thanks. Just supposing you're the only people that are against this flag and the rest of the city and the town is for this flag, doesn't that then prove that there's a reason to have all those people be heard? I mean, maybe it's worth taking a poll, and maybe it needs to become the city's, a representation of the city and the people that, what they would want, because you guys are a small group of people, and there's a lot of people, and there may be a lot of people on your side But there's a lot of people on the side of the flag that maybe need their voice to be heard, and maybe it's worth reaching out to those people, and then maybe a majority rules.
Ma'am, if I can interject, if I may. And it goes back to answering your question too, ma'am. You know, we can sit here and we can talk about this flag code until the cows come home, okay? We looked at that flag code 3 ways to Tuesday, okay? This committee is not just a bunch of fly-by-night folks who decided to come together and throw a bunch of chunk of rocks together and call it a memorial. We wouldn't even be having this conversation right now if that piece of wood was still sitting out there on that spot. I have no doubt about it. But some of the things that we had to consider when we're talking about this flag, we're not, our responsibility, okay, is far greater than just, you know, honoring people that died on that wall. We have to think about the people that lived and came home. We have to think about the people that maybe they came home, but their TBI is so bad that they're sitting in a wheelchair. They're not able to do anything for themselves. Okay, where's their flag? Okay?
That's coming next.
And if they're asking
Okay,
for a
but-
flag, maybe it will happen, but
It's
right now we're
coming.
talking
That's
about
coming
this
But
flag.
ma'am, let me just finish my line if I could. We also had to consider the veterans that are on that wall. As ridiculous as you guys may think this sounds, okay? There were considerations that we had to look into that were painstaking to go through. This flag is called the Lest They Be Forgotten flag, okay? People have seen it, I know they've researched it. The gentleman that came up with this in 2005, his whole goal with this flag was to raise enough money so that he can go to the decedents' towns and put a plaque in their honor in their town. Why aren't we flying this flag? The most controversial piece of this flag, and it was an unintended consequence, and I don't know how you want to chalk it up, okay? The flag code violations aside, this is a Viet Cong battle flag.
Do you really have
Okay.
to bring that up?
No, I don't.
Hardee's has got a flag that's similar to that.
Okay,
too.
all right,
And
I'm just
how many
saying.
states have approved this
Disrespect.
flag?
Being very disrespectful right
I'm
now.
not trying to be disrespectful, sir, but I'm telling you that
You are
this.
being.
No, sir. What I'm suggesting to you, sir,
Vietnam veteran informed
these,
us
these
of
are
this.
the decisions that we had to consider.
And did you look at my paperwork and shows that the Vietnam Veterans Association totally backs the honor and remember flag?
Yes, ma'am, but I also know that the National VFW does not, and also the American Legion on the national level does not.
That's
But
correct.
what I'm telling you, and I'm not trying to draw a controversy here, but while you may have served in World War II, and this doesn't mean anything to you, and you may have served in the Korean War, probably doesn't mean a hill of beans to you. But if you're in the jungles of Vietnam, you're not gonna sit there and try to think too far beyond what this means, okay? These are some of the things that we had to consider. We didn't just make a knee-jerk reaction and say, oh, it's this, and then it's this. There were valid points that we painstakingly went over. Again, we didn't make a decision overnight, okay? But these are the other things that we had to consider. It's not just about one group that we have to think about. We have to make sure that we're honoring all our veterans. How do we do that? If one person looks at, yes, sir.
And if you want to just continue to go on that kind of stuff, the depiction on the honor and remember flag, that could be the Australian flag, right? The Union Jack flag, right? It could be, but it's not.
But that's the reality, sir.
But the reality is that 19 states have signed it in the bill. It's law. It's signed in here, it's not mandated. That's the only thing.
I haven't looked at the 18 states other than New Jersey, but I did look at New Jersey's resolutions by the Assembly and Senate, and what they tell us is this honor and remember flag is adopted as an official flag of the state of New Jersey. I don't know what that means. It is not the official flag, obviously. It is an official flag. I tried to find out if there were other official flags of the state of New Jersey, and I have failed. I don't know. But you raise a point when you said that the flag for the injured is coming.
It's coming.
I guess I didn't know that, but I'm not totally surprised. And that's one of the concerns this committee has, is there is many worthy causes for which flags could be developed. There are people who suffer so greatly in service to this country that if we slice it down, we can find reasons to have a lot of flags. And as I say, this is a humble little memorial. It can't carry a lot of flags. And, you know, when we have the honor and remember flag, you know, geared toward a specific segment of society that is worthy of recognition, no question about it. Do we put it on the memorial? All right, say we do, and then we get another flag. Okay, for the people who were severely injured, you know, the paraplegics, and then the quadriplegic. I don't know. We try to think ahead with this. You know, we do the best we can, and you know, maybe we're missing, but when we think about the consequences of our decision, if we had just put Ben Moore's name on the wall, said, yeah, good, let's put Ben Moore's name on the wall, and we could have done that. But then what do we do when the next person says, well, he wasn't a resident of the city, you know, we want this person's name on the wall. All right, good luck answering that one. So we had to come up with a process that would be responsive to what we felt was appropriate to get Ben's name on the wall, and similarly treat as fairly as anybody else in the same situation, but not open the floodgates to everybody who wanted to get their name on the wall. So we did that, you know, and you know, we've got the request to put the flag up. If we do that, I think we're opening the floodgates for the next flag and the next flag.
You're
This is-
speculating.
No, you already told us.
Just one point.
I did tell you that.
Right.
I said that is the next flag that will be coming. But
Right.
has anyone created it yet?
I don't know.
And has it
I
been
didn't know
put up
about this
yet
one
anywhere?
until it arrived. But
this
we
is
know.
the same problems that they had with the POW MIA flag. That where is it now?
I know.
Okay.
And, you know, that's
So let me
history.
ask
We're
you
not,
this.
we're not,
If this was to change in the federal realm and it became a national flag, would that change any of your minds?
I suppose it depends on what they tell us. If they say this is a flag that, the federal government has recognized and shall be flown, you know, far be it from me to be in violation of federal code.
And I think the lady had a valid question. It's 7 people. You really don't know what everybody's thinking.
You're absolutely right.
You
It's
really
not,
don't.
it's not
So
a
again,
referendum, it's not
It
a.
goes back to possessing the memorial and what your thoughts are. And your thoughts, a lot of them are well, and they're good.
And we appreciate it.
And we
respect it.
appreciate the hard work, and we know, because we do this. We know what goes into this. We know how much, the countless hours of your own time, and all that, we understand that. We get that, we understand it. You don't have to tell us that, we do this. So as far as the other flags, could be. We're dealing today, now.
That's right.
And if I squander time worrying about tomorrow, what am I doing today?
I don't know.
I gotta live in today.
we
I have to live in each 24-hour period.
But sir,
That's how I gotta live.
we're the ones, sir, that are gonna have to worry about it long after you know, we're gonna be the ones to worry about it.
Right, that's why
Nobody
you're a
else.
committee.
7 of you, not the
Could I
community.
Right.
say something about
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
I'm a military historian, my specialty is lineage and honors, and I wanna make it very clear that I do not speak for McGuire, Dix, Lakehurst. I know how things can get twisted, so I wanna make it very clear that I am not speaking for the base. However, I have talked to several people, and when you say that there's only 7, I can assure you, sir, that, and granted, I am very sorry for your loss. I cannot imagine what it would be like to lose a child. However, people that I have spoken to who clearly understand flag code, lineage and honors, the military, I will tell you that there are many, many more people than just 7 who feel the exact same way. When you are in the military, there are rules that you follow. The flag code is a part of those rules, and until they change, sir, you mentioned, you know, until the federal code changes, they do have an obligation to the fallen, to all of the fallen already. And when you talk about the POW, the MIA flags, sure, maybe there was discussion however many years ago about that flag, and yes, now it is standard, you see it everywhere, and we're proud of that flag. But until that happens with your honor and remembrance flag, right now, and you're talking about the present, living in the now, right now, that's not the case, and if
You're
that
right, and it's
changes-
gonna happen.
And that's great, if it changes,
It's
we'll
gonna
all have a party about it and be happy about it.
We don't
but-
wanna have a party that's
Well,
soft.
I mean, we'll celebrate that it's available, but right now it's not,
Yeah,
so
we
you
don't party
can't really
with it.
hold you can't really hold this committee hostage and say that, it kind of sounds as an outsider, and granted, I am probably the ultimate outsider, that's kind of what it sounds like. These people have done due diligence, I mean, that's part of the reason that I'm here.
So 19 states, miss,
Ma'am, I
19
mean,
states,
sorry,
more
sir,
powerful than us.
The
I will
19
tell you what,
states
we don't-
has
I don't-
their
I don't-
mind, but-
I'm gonna
think we
end
should
by
have it.
saying thank you for your time, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Please reconsider it. Again, we're gonna stay at it. I'm not gonna point fingers or fight or argue, go back and forth like that. But I'm not taking no, and we're not going away.
I hear you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Torres?
Bruce, the only thing, one of the hardest things about the flag is the civilian slash veterans. If you look at the history of the POW flag, and you read the history of the POW flag, you will read years and years, because it took many, many years for that to be. Matter of fact, the only way it was made a national flag, Bill Clinton was the president, the bill was put into the overall budget, military budget, that's how it was signed into law. So, but, my comment about the veterans, absolutely the veterans believe, and the families of the veterans believe, and if you have friends that are veterans or have served, you believe that the American flag is the only flag, and you're absolutely right. And I can say this because I come from a military family. My father served in World War II, my mother served in World War II. She was the first lieutenant in the United States Army Nurses Corps. Two of her sisters, two of my aunts, were also in the United States Army Nurses Corps, serving overseas in World War II. Two of my uncles served. I grew up hearing every day about war stories and about the American flag from my parents who were veterans. So I get it, I get it. What you gotta understand is, there's only 1% of the population in this country that are veterans. 99% of the civilians in this country look at the American flag and have a multitude of thoughts, a multitude of memories, and a multitude of reasons of what that reminds them of and what they believe in. The POW flag came about because the wife of a soldier that was captured believed that her husband needed to be remembered. That's how that started. The Honor Remember flag has started the same way. Both of those flags are civilian flags. They're not meant to be thrown in the face of the veterans or anybody in the service. They're not meant to be thrown in your face and say, you gotta look at this flag because you guys aren't honoring anybody. You're forgetting these people. Absolutely you're not forgetting your people. Your battle buddies, your fellow service people. You're not doing that. Every day, people that grew up understanding the flag or have military in their families, they're flying the flag all the time. You have civilians flying the flag all the time. What happens on Memorial Day? How many civilians show up to pay respect on Memorial Day? The veterans need the Honor Remember flag for the civilian population. Just like the POW flag, when a civilian that has nothing to do with the military is going about his job every day, trying to pay his bills, make a living, when he looks at the POW flag, what's he think of? Doesn't think of a veteran that's working down in McGuire or up at Fort Drum. He thinks of the POW and the MIA. It's an instant recollection. And for a civilian that looks at the Honor Remember flag, it's gonna do the same thing for the fallen. And not only the fallen are they gonna think about, they're gonna think about the guys they left behind. The fallen's buddies that came home. They're gonna be concerned about, what did they see? What did they go through? What are their families going through? It's a civilian flag. It's not meant to be thrown in the face of veterans. Not at all.
I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah, I know a couple times you brought up the fact that the flag is trademarked. Every military insignia on your uniforms has a trademark.
No, sir.
No, it does not.
No, sir.
They're not.
No, sir. No,
and
sir.
I've been misinformed.
Yes, sir.
But the same thing, I think it was trademarked to keep it in this country, not made over in China. Does that, we don't even know if that flag was made in China behind it.
The US flags
Our Olympics had their clothes made in China last year, so
So the
it was,
caveat to
You
the.
know, I don't know, and
it was
Little hold on,
trademarked to keep it in this
The
country.
caveat to the US flag is it has to be made by a US flag manufacturer. That's the
There's
caveat to US
many a
flag.
flag made in China,
I'm sure.
US flag.
Okay?
I have that wall. And by the way, just one more remark, please. Just to let you know that, the purchase of the Honor and Remember flag can be done, I searched the other day, I got about 10 different searches of people who sell the Honor and Remember flag, who are making profit from the Honor and Remember flag. Does not all go back to the organization.
Any question?
Good luck.
Yes, thanks. My name's Mickey DeSantis. I live in Bordentown my whole life, resident for the last 17 years. I sit here and look at the Veterans Committee, which, you know, I admire your work, supported the Balls back in '97 when we started to, with Arlene Bice, we all started to put this thing together. And I would probably attend another ball if you had one. But I sit here and I know about 4 or 5 of you people, but I don't know the rest. I'd like you to introduce yourselves.
Oh, sure.
First of all, I'm Brian Murray. I was involved back then in Arlene's bookstore.
Okay.
I was asked to come in and.
I'd just like to put a name with a face who I'm addressing here tonight.
Okay.
Bruce Throckmorton.
I know you, Bruce.
I'm Barbara Caballero. I've
Thank
lived
you.
here for 30 years.
Sir, I'm Chris Alford.
I know you, and I know you, John. What I would like to say is that I'm a past exalt ruler from the Bordentown Elks. If any of you are Elks, you will know that Elks throughout the country on a national level puts veterans at a very high standard. They remember them on Veterans Day. They honor them whenever they can. We ship packages overseas on a regular basis. We have a very strong Veterans Committee at Bordentown Elks. Recently, we have voted to hang the Honor and Remembrance flag outside on our pole. And when the weather finally gets warmer and the hardware is obtained, we plan on putting the T up there to have the POW and the Honor and Remembrance flag flown proudly in front of the Bordentown Elks. The State Elks is very much active in the, correct me when I'm wrong, Run for the Fallen
Run
mile.
for the Fallen, Army of Hope.
I wish I would have brought the picture that was in the State Elks newspaper that I did share with Amy and Pat about the Elks on a state level being sponsors and supporting that with the flag in their hand. Okay? So if the Elks acknowledges and respects and agrees to fly that flag, I think they stand side by side with this Veterans Committee and that wall that we have out there, because we've been around for quite a long time too. 1868, I believe we started. And the 11th hour toast that we do at 11 o'clock every night is based partly on the fact that Veterans Day is November 11th. So all of these things I share with you with some meaning that I respect your decisions. I disagree with the fact that it's in violation because the flag happens to be depicted on the Honor and Remember flag. I read the same things you read over and over again, and I interpret it different.